So again, you guys are going to see of this today, where we are going to have a slope and an ordered pair that we will plug in to find B, and then we'll write our equation. The difference is it's going to be in the form of either a table like this or a word problem. Okay, but the process, whether I give you a table of ordered pairs or if I give you a word problem that has ordered pairs in it, process is always the same. We're going to find slope. Actually, instead of plugging it into this, a lot of times we're going to plug it into point slope form and solve. But then we're still going to end up with slope intercept form at the end, which is this one. Okay? So the point slope, I don't know if you guys remember this one or not, but we're going to plug in a y value here. We'll put our slope here, and then inside parentheses, we'll put our x there. And then I'll show you guys what I'll do is we're going to plug in m, x, and y, and then I'm going to teach you how to convert this into slope intercept form. It's really not that bad. It's pretty simple. Just a couple steps. All right, so let's go ahead and do an example down here at the bottom. Let's talk about this T-chart, okay? Whether it's enclosed or not, like sometimes you guys will see it kind of written like this. It'll look like a matrix. I don't know if you guys have ever seen a matrix written out, but it might look more like this, where they have 3 numbers down the side on the left and 3 down the right. Either way, it's still a table of x and y values. Okay, so these are your x's, these are your y's. We only need 2 ordered pairs to find slope. So step 1 says pick 2 points from the table. Do we all have to use the same 2 ordered pairs? No. Some of us could use 365 and 6110. Some of us could use 6110 and 10170. Some of us could use the top and the bottom one. It doesn't matter. Whichever 2 ordered pairs you use, we're all going to get the same slope. Okay? So I'm going to call this top one A and the second one B. So I'm going to use the ordered pairs A and B. So these are the 2 I'm using, 3, 65 and 6, 110. Now listen, because they're giving us a table, some of your numbers today are going to be a lot larger than what you're used to dealing with. Use the calculator to do your subtraction, okay? So once you pick your 2 ordered pairs, then we're going to calculate slope using that slope formula. So let's get these plugged in. What are my 2 y values that I will subtract up top? So the 65 and the 110. Now, think about this, you guys. If you're subtracting, wouldn't you rather start with the bigger number? Wouldn't you rather do 110 minus 65? I mean, that's the kind of subtraction you guys have always done. If you do it the other way, it's going to be negative. So I always go biggest minus the smallest, but you can do it the other way. Now, since I went right to left up top, on the bottom, I'll also have to go right to left. So I'm going to do 6 minus 3. Okay, so pick up those calculators, subtract the top, subtract the bottom, and then we'll do our division step last. $110 minus 65, 45. And 6 minus 3, 3. So now divide 45 by 3, please. 15. we all getting 15 when we do that division? Now just remember, that is our slope. You got what? No. The way you guys had it set up, you would have a negative 45 and a negative 3. And two negatives make a positive. Yeah, you guys would have had negative 45 over negative 3. All right, step number 3. Substitute x, y, and m into point slope form. So I want everybody to write this. You start with y minus. Now we have to decide on which ordered pair we want to use. Well, first of all, I need to know which ordered pair you guys want to use. Because we all don't have to use the same one. So here's another thing. You know, this step back here, you guys didn't have to use the same 2 ordered pairs I did. I just picked the top 2. That's usually what I do. When I go to do this part, usually what I do is I try to pick the 2 smallest numbers. So like it made sense for me to use this top one just because those numbers are smaller. But does it matter? No. You guys can pick any ordered pair you want. I'm going to stick with this top ordered pair. I'm going to use the 3 and the 65. So which of those numbers is the y? So you put the 65 here, equals, now our slope goes next, which we all said was 15. Then in parentheses, x minus, and then what was the x value? 3. Okay, so if you guys need to show this step by step, this was step 1, calculating slope was step 2, and substituting into point slope form, that's what we're doing right now. This is step 3. Okay, the final step is to get this y by itself. So, how many of you guys remember how to distribute over here? How do you distribute? You multiply. So on the left, just leave it as y minus 65. But on the right side, we need to do distributive property. We're going to take 15 times x, which is 15x, and then 15 times that minus 3. What kind of 45? Yeah, minus 45. Now we're almost there. We just have one more step to go. Because look, can you look up here? If I were to cover up this number, isn't that y equals mx plus b?
Yes.
Okay, so all I need to do is the number that is under my finger needs to move and pair up with that negative 45. How do I move a negative 65? Add 65 to both sides. This is gone. Y equals 15x. Now just be careful when you guys combine those two. Negative 45 plus 65. Positive 20. And there it is. Yes. Yeah. Because like if I had used like 6 and 110, my 110 would have gone here and my 6 would have gone here. Which, did you use a different one? What, did you use 6 and 110? Okay, so then you would have had 15x minus what, 90? Yeah. and then you would have added 110 to negative 90, and you'd still get 20. So yeah, you'll still end up with that same equation at the end, and you'll end up with the same slope no matter what ordered pairs you use throughout the entire problem. Okay? That's the really nice thing about it, is that it doesn't, we all could do something different, but still all end up with the same answer. I like to stay consistent when I do mine. So typically if I'm given a table, I'm going to use the top two for slope, and I'm going to probably use the top one to do my plug and chug with. All right, turn the page. We're going to do one more if they have given us a table. So again, just looking at that table, doesn't it appear that the top two ordered pairs have the smallest numbers? I mean, if you guys have ever made a T-chart like this, which trust me, you have at some point in your life, you have made a little table like this. The X's up here are always smaller than these. So I like to just stick to the top two, just again, to stay consistent. So I'm going to use these two ordered pairs to find my slope. So 630 and 9,51. That's a 1, 51. So finding slope. Picking our ordered pairs is step 1. Finding slope is step 2. What two numbers go up top? 51 and 30. And then bottom? 9 and 6. It'd probably be really beneficial to you guys to be writing this down. You're not taking pictures of my stuff and then copying it down later. It's not how this works. Okay, what's 51 minus 30? Okay, I got 21, and you got negative 21. And then I'm going to have 9 minus 6, which is 3, and you would have negative 3. And your two negatives will still turn into a positive what?
3.
21 divided by 3 is 7. So our slope that we are going to use in our plug and chug step, which is coming up, that's step 3. We will have to use the 7 for our M. Okay, point slope form. Y minus, now we have to pick one ordered pair. So you can use either of these two or either of those two. Just pick an ordered pair. Somebody just tell me when to use, I don't care. 9. 9? So you're saying 9, 51? Okay, we'll use 9, 51 for part 3. So the 51 is the y value. So it's y minus 51 equals the m right here goes next, which is 7. And then in parentheses, you'll have x minus the x value, which was 9. Now just keep in mind, if you used 630, look up here please, the 30 would be here and the 6 would be here, but everybody would still be using that 7. 16 and 100, 100 would be here, 16 here, 7 still here. It doesn't matter. Okay, distribute on the right. 7x minus 63. And then as soon as you guys distribute, The only thing left to do is to bring this number over. So you'd add 51? Yep. Add the 51. So y comes down, equal comes down, 7x comes down. Negative 12? Yep. So there's our equation. Y equals 7x minus 12. That is slope-intercept form. I'm sorry, what? No, we've got it. It's right here. Now, I am going to tell you this. Remember, this curriculum is different than the 1A I've been teaching for like the last several years. I don't know why in this lesson this teacher decided to plug these numbers into point slope form when we've been plugging it into y equals mx plus b this whole time. My guess is if we did y equals mx plus b, then we would still, once we found b, we'd still have to write this equation at the end. By using point slope form, as soon as we solve it, we have our answer. We don't have to find b separately and then write the equation like we've been doing on like the last several days worth of problems. It would still work. Like if you guys wanted to do, once you found slope, if you wanted to do y equals mx plus b, find b and then write the equation, it would still work out to be the same. I promise you it would. All right. Now, word problems. Good news, even though it's a word problem, which a lot of times people struggle with, the word problem is going to give you the 2 ordered pairs to use. So up here, you guys had 4 ordered pairs to choose from. Down here, you're just going to have 2 ordered pairs to choose from. But they are in the problem, and you have to read it to figure out what your ordered pairs are. Okay, so just read with me here. Kendrell opened a savings account last year with his tax return. He also set up automatic deductions from his paycheck to deposit the same amount each month. So now watch, because we're getting numbers here. After 6 months, he had $1,300. Hey, look. X, Y. 6, 1,300. There's our first ordered pair. You just had to read to find it. My second ordered pair is going to be in the next sentence. After 9 months, he had a total of $1,450. What would that ordered pair be?
9,
Comma, $1,450. So then it says, write the linear equation of this scenario. We have 2 ordered pairs. We are going to follow the same process we just did up top. So even though it's a word problem, we're just doing the same thing. Okay, so watch. Let's come down here in the blank space and let's go through these steps. Finding the slope. What 2 numbers go up top?
50.
And 1,300. Yep. So like I said, these numbers are going to be quite a bit larger, but it's okay. And then 9 minus 6 on the bottom. Once you guys have those plugged in, type them in. You know what the good news is about these problems? Notice how we've not had to stick in any negatives. Every number we've plugged in has been positive so far. That's great. When you have to plug in minus and negative, that's when some of you guys end up missing answers. So giving us all positive numbers should be easier.
I think I got this one.
Okay, tell me what you're getting up top.
150.
150? And then on the bottom? And when you do your division. Okay, there's our slope.
If we did it backwards,
You'd have two negatives, and it would still turn positive 50. Yes. Yes.
We still gotta take a payment for them.
Yeah, so then the next step, we're going to do this in point slope form. Y minus. Now look, we only have two ordered pairs to pick from. I know the numbers are kind of big, but you still got to just pick one and go with it. So we're going to use, let's use this one. The 1300 goes here, equals, our slope goes next, so all of us would use 50, and then in parentheses x minus, and then what was the x? 6. Okay, distribute on the right side, right? So y minus 1300 on the left. 50 times x. 50x. And then 50 times negative 6. Negative 300. Then you guys just have that one number to move, right? What number are we moving? The 13. We're moving this and pairing it up over here. Because we got to get y. Y always has to be by itself. So we're just going to add 1300 to that negative 300. Yep, so y equals 50x plus 1000. Now the question says, I know I kind of wrote over it a little bit, but it says, how much will he have at the same rate in his savings account after 15 months? I want you guys to look back at our ordered pairs. Wasn't the x value the number of months? Like it said 6 months and that we put that in for x. So if they're telling us they want us to find how much money he would have after 15 months, where would I plug the number 15 into this equation? Okay, listen, you guys need to focus. If this is x, if the number of months represents x, and they've just given us 15 months, we plug the 15 in where the x is. No. No, because now we're using this equation to find different values. So if they've told us the number of months, which is always x, we just replace the x with the 15. We want to know how much money, that's the y. We want to know what y is after 15 months. So we would take that x out and replace it with a 15. Good news is once you put that in there, you guys can type this whole thing into your calculator at once. Those calculators do order of operations for you. So just type in 50, parentheses 15, close it, and then put plus 1,000. Did you add 1,000 to it? Do 50 times 15 plus 1,000. I think you accidentally put plus 100 instead of plus. Sure. What are you guys getting? 1750? Okay, that sounds better. So 1750 is the amount of money he would have in his account after 15 months. Now, the other question they asked was, what does the y-intercept represent in this scenario? They want to know what this number 1,000 means. If you go back to the original word problem, it said he opened a savings account last year with his tax return. So what is that $1,000? How much he put in, right? He got $1,000 back, and he took that 1,000 and just put it right into that savings account. Okay, so that $1,000 was his tax return. Good job. Now, once you guys turn the page, you're going to see this whole thing worked out on the next page. They don't show you the steps like I do. So I like to work it out step by step instead of just going right over here. Actually, they didn't work it out. I whited it out. But this is the exact same problem, okay? Same as previous. If I had looked ahead, we could have just filled it all out there since there was more space. But it's the exact same problem. They just put it on there twice. So before I do that again, yeah, okay, so no, oh, what in the world? Oh, okay, I know what we're doing. Sorry, I have to read. See, this is why it's important to read in math, guys. I know sometimes we don't like to read in math class because you're like, it's math, we should just be using numbers. But you know, sometimes you got to read. Because right here it says this is the same scenario. So of course you're thinking, wait, is this the same problem all over again? No. I mean, kind of. See, here's the equation we just found, right? So we're starting with this equation again, but look at what it says. Kendra is saving for a down payment on a vehicle. How many months? And we said X were the number of months, right? So they want us to find X this time, which means it says, will it take for him to save 3,000? So what does that 3,000 represent if they want us to find X? It's the Y. So they have given us the Y this term. So where are we plugging in that 3,000? Where the Y is. So we would rewrite this equation putting 3,000 where the Y is. You'd have 3,000 equals 50x plus 1,000. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a two-step equation. If you can't solve a two-step equation without my help, you shouldn't be in Algebra 1A. That's stuff you learn in pre-algebra. Actually, that's like 7th, 8th grade math. And then pre-algebra. What are my two steps? Subtract 1,000. Both sides, yep. Always. Got to keep that scale balanced. So 3,000 minus 1,000 is 2,000 equals 50x. Last step, always division, right? Well, I can't say always, but I'd say about 90% of the time, there is going to be some number in front of x that you have to divide by. Okay, what's 2,000 divided by 50?
40.
So x equals 40 what? Months. With word problems, it is extremely important that you include the unit of measure in your final answer. So if the question was how many months, you should end with the word months. On the previous problem, they wanted to know how much money was in his account. Well, just throw the dollar sign in front of it. You don't have to write out the word dollars. You can put the dollar sign. Okay? All right, turn the page. Now this one really was worked out. So this is the same as the previous, and it just shows all the work again. And then we're going to do this one last problem. And I think it's printed multiple times. So we're going to do this. Allison has a car payment. After paying on the car for 5 months, she has $12,000 left. $12,000 left. Now you got to remember, she's paying on this car. So it's going to decrease over time, right? When we were dealing with like the savings account, you would hope that your savings account would increase over time, right? So it makes sense that a savings account problem would have a positive slope. But if you have a word problem where things are decreasing, would you still expect a positive slope? We should probably get a negative slope this time, okay? All right, so let's write our ordered pairs. After 5 months, she has 12,000. So there's our first ordered pair, 5, 12,000. And then she estimates that after a year, so that would be 12 months, she will still owe $95.50. Excuse me. What is the equation of this scenario? Okay, now I actually, for space reasons, I really do want to go to the next page and work it out because I used whiteout and gave us more room. So here are those two ordered pairs again. Let's find our slope. Now notice up top, the way I set mine up, see, I'm taking the smaller number and subtracting the bigger one. Isn't that going to go negative? Mine will. If you take the small minus the bigger one, the top of mine's going to be negative. If you were setting it up like Trinity does, it'll be bigger minus smaller up top, but then on the bottom, Trinity would get a negative. Okay? So either way, we're going to get one positive, one negative, which makes the entire slope negative. So 95.50 minus 12,000 up top. And what do I write on the bottom? 12 minus 5. And you guys can do that math for me. Negative 2,450. I can do 12 minus 5. I'm good there. And then I need that division. Right, because you had the positive up top and a negative on the bottom. Either way, the whole slope will be negative. Negative 350. Negative 350. Think about what that means, you guys. That means each month that goes by, what's happening? Well, she's decreasing how much she owes. So she's like paying it off, right? So every single month, she's paying $350 towards that car loan. Okay, good. Then step 2, we got to plug this into point slope form. Which ordered pair you guys want to use? Well, you want to use this one? I'll just use that one. All right, so y minus the y value, which is 12,000, equals the slope, so negative 350, then in parentheses, x minus the 5. All right, distribute on the right side, please. So negative 350 times x, negative 350x. Now be careful, negative 350 times negative 5. 1750. Bless you. And then what's the only number left to move? The 12,000. And if it's a minus, how are we moving it? We're adding 12,000. So we're going to bring down this y. We're going to bring down the equals, and we're going to bring down the negative 350x. You guys have to do this addition. 13,750. Good. So what is this 13,750? What does that represent? Because that's the y-intercept. Earlier you guys told me the y-intercept was his tax return because that's how much he started with. So what is this? Yeah, it's how much her loan is for. It's that total amount that she had to borrow for her car. Okay, so now I know I kind of wrote over it again, but they want to know how much she's going to owe after 24 months and after 36 months. Where are we going to plug the number 24 into? Where the x is. So we're going to do y equals negative 350 times a 24 plus 13,750. And then, like I said, when you guys have that, you can just type that whole thing directly into the calculator. And this is going to show us after 2 years how much does she still owe. Okay, so then after 3 years, which is 36 months, we're going to do this same problem, but we're going to plug in a 36 instead of a 24. And then that'll show you how much. Shouldn't be much. After 3 years, she should be left with, I think it's a little over 1,000. I don't remember the exact answer, but 1150. Is anybody else typing this in? Because like I really didn't type it in. I'm just guessing Bethel's right. But if nobody else is typing it in, we might be writing wrong answers down. Did you type in negative 350 times 24 plus 13,750? Well, you got to type it in exactly how it looks up here. If you didn't type it in like that, that's why you're getting a different answer. Okay, so then you got it. All right, this bottom question. This bottom one still goes with this problem. So we're still going to use this equation. So I'm going to write it back down here. The y equals negative 350x plus 13,750. It says at the very end, how long is it going to take to pay off the loan? If they want to know how long, they want us to find x, which means they have told us what y is. Well, if you pay off your loan, how much do you owe? So where are we plugging in the 0? Where the y is. Good job. Yeah, we're plugging in a 0 to figure out how long it'll take to pay this off. Again, that's a 2-step equation. You guys, well, several of you were able to tell me how to solve the last 2-step equation. What do we do? We don't add or divide right now. We subtract this one and move it over here. We got to get x by itself. So if it says plus, we do minus, right? Now, the good news is you're just subtracting it from 0. So isn't it just going to be this number but negative? So negative 13,750 equals, and then just bring down the negative 350x. Now our last step is divide. Side by side, we divide. Negative 350. So make sure when you type that in, it's negative divided by a negative. We all know it's going to be positive, and it should, because is time ever going to be like negative 4 years? No, that wouldn't make sense. What's my answer? I haven't done it.
It's like 39 points.
So it's 39 point something? We'll just say 39.3 then. 39.3 months. So we know like 36 months is 3 years, so it's a little over 3 years. It's 3 years, 3 months, and a couple days. But we don't need to do all that. We'll just say 39.3 months. And then I think there's just something left on the back. I'm not really sure what it is, but we're about to find out. No, it's the same. That's the same. You can just scratch that out. It just asked how long will it take to pay off the loan. Okay, so that's the end of your notes for today.